Ready, racers? On your mark, get set, go! Today, I'll be showing you some really cool DIY crafts to go along with your Pixar Cars playset, and they'll all be Radiator Springs themed to go along with our mountain speedway. We're going to use simple items you can find around the house to expand the world of Radiator Springs and make this scenic route even more scenic. There's going to be a lot of cutting and painting, so please ask an adult if you need any help. First, we'll be making Luigi's Leaning Tower of Tires. For this craft, you're gonna need black paint and a paintbrush, school glue, a ruler and a marker, a plastic knife, some toothpicks, and a pool noodle. First thing you're gonna do is use your ruler and marker to draw 20 lines on your noodle. Each mark should be 1 inch apart. Once you've made your marks, use your plastic knife to cut out all of your tires. Be sure to ask your parents for help with any cutting. Awesome! Now you have your tires! Except, I'm pretty sure most tires are black, so you're probably gonna want to paint them. This can get a little messy, so be sure to lay down some paper. And don't forget to ask your parents for help. Once all those tires are nice and dry, take a bit of glue and put 3 of them together so they look like a clover. This is going to be the base of your tower. Now take 3 tires, but this time glue them together at the edges so they make this cool little pyramid. And if you want, you can use toothpicks to hold them together while the glue dries. You're going to do this 3 times with 3 sets of tires. Finally, it's time to put your tower together. Start by gluing 5 tires stacked on top of each other. Then, alternate your 3 tire pyramids with single tires until you reach the top. This is a leaning tower of tires after all, but it may want to lean too much as you stack the tires upwards. Be sure to balance the pieces as you build so your tower doesn't fall over. Keep an eye on it as it dries, too. Perfecto! This beautiful tower would bring a tear to Luigi's eyes. Let's make another iconic Radiator Springs stop, the Cozy Cones from Sally's Cozy Cone Motel. For this craft, you're gonna need orange construction paper, some Scotch tape, a plastic bowl, a pencil, a ruler, and safety scissors. First, take that bowl and use it to trace a nice big circle on the paper. Now take your safety scissors and cut that circle out. Next, fold that circle in half and cut along the fold. This will give you 2 half circles, like this. These are going to be your actual cones. All you have to do is curl it into a cone shape, like this, and tack it down with a little bit of tape. Perfect. For the base of the cone, cut out a 2 by 2 inch square on the remaining construction paper. Put 2 more pieces of tape on the inside of the cone to secure it to the base. And there you have it, a cozy cone. Sally would love this. What would a charming desert town be without some tumbleweeds? All you're gonna need for this next craft is some twine or colored yarn, your trusty safety scissors, toothpicks, and a ruler. First, measure out a piece of yarn about 6 inches long. Now for the fun part. Take a bunch of yarn and just wrap it around the biggest part of your hand 10 times, kind of like a bracelet. Once you've done that, slide it off your hand and pinch it together in the center so it looks like a bow tie. Then you're gonna take that string we cut before and tie it down the middle, just like this. Cut the loops on each end. And start to unfurl the individual strings of the yarn with a toothpick. We need some cacti. You're going to need a bunch of craft sticks, green paint and a paintbrush, craft glue, a brown-colored pencil or crayon, safety scissors, and a plastic cup. First, take one craft stick and just cut off the top end, like this. Then, take a different craft stick and cut that into 4 pieces. Now you have all the branches of your cactus. After that, take one more craft stick and cut it in half. Those will be for our base. Next, arrange the shorter sticks around the cactus trunk, however you like. Be sure to glue them on as you go. Once your cactus looks good, glue the 2 remaining sticks together in a cross shape. Once your glue is dry, break out some of that green paint and make them look like a real cactus. Don't forget the other side. As it's drying, you can use that colored pencil to draw on some barbs. It's looking like a real cactus now. Last but not least, go ahead and put a little glue in the middle of the base we made earlier. Then, place your cactus on top. If it wants to fall over while it's drying, don't worry. That's what the plastic cup is for. Once it's dry, voila! You've got yourself a cactus. Time to move on to our final and biggest build, Cadillac Range. For this, you'll need a big piece of cardboard, brown and orange paint, a paintbrush, a pencil or marker, some tape, and something long and thin, like a chopstick. First, go ahead and draw the image on the cardboard. This mountain range is pretty iconic, so make sure to use a reference picture to help you get the look just right. Here's the one I used. Once you've done that, use a remaining corner of the cardboard to trace out a triangle. This will be used later as a kickstand to hold up our masterpiece. Have a parent or guardian cut out the canyon for you. The end result should look something like this. It's looking awesome so far. Let's work on the texture. Remember when I said you needed something thin, like a chopstick? You're gonna use that to peel away the top layer of the cardboard, like this. You'll want to do this across the whole canyon. See how all the squiggly stuff inside makes it look more rocky? Pretty cool, right? Now, use all that brown and orange paint to make it look even more like a mountain. Be sure to lay down some paper so you don't make a mess. All that hard work paid off. Now you've got yourself a great-looking mountain. Once the paint is dry, place the mountains face down and tape your triangle kickstand to the back. Once it's secure, prop it up and just take in the view. Once you've completed all your DIY pieces, set up your scene in any way you like. Beautiful! Our playset is really starting to feel like Radiator Springs. Now it's time to have some fun! Hope you had fun today checking out this Cars playset and making all those cool crafts. See you down the road, racers! Ka-chow!